We're exploring a different aspect of Islam that we've never done a dedicated video about before. Now, this aspect is the teachings and the organization of the Nation of Islam. Welcome to another episode of FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton, and for this episode, I'm going to be looking at 10 surprising facts about the Nation of Islam, from its conception to its teachings, its major milestones, and more. But before I get into those facts, leave a like on this episode, as well as subscribe and ring that bell if this is your first time here to FTD Facts, and that way you'll be notified of our daily episodes. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Starting off with what the Nation of Islam actually is. So the Nation of Islam is an African American movement and organization founded in the 1930s and known for its teachings combining elements of traditional Islam with black nationalist ideas. The nation also promotes racial unity as well as self-help and maintains a strict code of discipline among its members. Next thing to know about the Nation of Islam is that the belief or faith of Islam was brought to the United States by African Muslim slaves, and it kept a very small presence there in the country, and this was throughout the 19th century, and then it emerged at the beginning of the 20th century as a result of the efforts of the Ahmadiyya movement, which is an unorthodox sect of Islam founded in India by Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, who was born 1839 to 1908, as well as of Sheikh Ahmed Faisal, born 1891 to 1980. And Sheikh Ahmed Faisal was a Moroccan-born leader of an independent black movement. The Muslim teachings in the Nation of Islam were tied to black nationalism by Nobel Drew Ali, originally named Timothy Drew, who lived 1886 to 1929. And he also founded the Moorish Science Temple of America in New York, New Jersey in 1913. Now, he produced a new sacred text, the Holy Quran, that really has little resemblance to its namesake, and it was based on his limited knowledge of Islam as well as on other spiritualist teachings. Now, talking a little bit more about the history of the Nation of Islam specifically, now Wallace D. Fard, he was originally from Saudi Arabia, and he founded it in Detroit, Michigan in the United States. Now, he established a temple, which was a University of Islam, and a corps of male guards called the Fruit of Islam that year. Now, according to the group's website, Fard, he preached that African Americans belonged to the tribe of Shabazz from the lost nation of Asia, who had been enslaved in America for more than 3 centuries. According to the website, his mission was to teach the downtrodden and defenseless black people a thorough knowledge of God and of themselves, and to put them on the road to self-independence with a superior culture and higher civilization than they had previously experienced. The group mixed the belief system of Islam. They read the Quran, they worship Allah as their God, and they accept Muhammad as their prophet, and they mix that with black nationalism. Now, Fard believed that African Americans should prepare for a race war, and Christianity was a religion for slave owners. Now, a member's given name, which he believed originated during slavery, he believed that they should actually be replaced with Arabic names. So many people who joined the Nation of Islam, you'll notice that right away, their name just completely changed to something totally different. Also in the year 1931, Fard met a migrant worker named Elijah Poole, who changed his name to Elijah Muhammad, and for the next 3.5 years, he reportedly taught and trained the Honorable Elijah Muhammad night and day into all of the profound secret wisdom of the reality of God.
Religion of God, which means entire submission to His will, who has been here for 400 years, serving the white man of America well. And now he has become to think in terms of the white man's thinking. He thinks now that he should be part of the white man.
Now, the Nation of Islam considers Fard to be the Messiah of Judaism, as well as the Mahdi of Islam, who is the prophesied Redeemer of Islam. And they believe that he was Allah in the flesh, the second coming of Jesus Christ, Jehovah God, as well as the Son of Mary. Now, Fard mysteriously disappeared in the year 1934, and he was last seen by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and was never heard of or seen again. Now, today, they celebrate his birthday, known as Savior's Day, on February 26.
If we would be let alone by doing the thing that is right, every nation go to its own. As is predicted in the Bible, that the time that will come that God will force all nations to go to their own. And I don't think that time is too far distant.
Now, when it comes to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, well, he took over leadership of Fard's group in Detroit, and he changed the name of the Allah Temple of Islam to Nation of Islam. And for the next 41 years, until he passed away in the year 1975, Elijah Muhammad served as the mentor to some influential African Americans, most notably Malcolm X, as well as Muhammad Ali.
Not black Muslim, it's Muslim. Islam religion has no color distinction.
And he grew the small group into a large movement, and he developed many Nation of Islam owned businesses as well as schools, and he created the largest African American newspaper in the United States. At the height of his power, the Nation of Islam was estimated to have about 250,000 total members. And by the way, there's an interesting documentary out on Netflix now called Who Killed Malcolm X? If you want to know a lot more about the Nation of Islam, the teachings, some of the dramas and the controversies that was involved in that, I highly recommend that documentary. I just finished watching it myself. It was really eye-opening. Yes, it's titled Who Killed Malcolm X, and Malcolm X is definitely the focal point of the documentary, but of course he was such a major player in the Nation of Islam that you learn a lot about them watching it. And no guys, Netflix didn't sponsor this episode. I'm just recommending it because I really liked it and I found it really fascinating, and I think you will too.
We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Okay, so getting back into the facts now. So the Nation of Islam says that it was founded on the basis of peace, and that its mission is to answer a prayer of Abraham to deliver his people who would be found in servitude slavery in the Western Hemisphere in this day and time. According to the Nation of Islam website, they say, "We have always been taught to respect the laws of the land, and we are taught never to carry arms, to make war, or to be the aggressor, for this is against the nature of the righteous. Now we are taught the principle of divine unity and the universal brotherhood of Islam." Another very surprising and interesting thing about the Nation of Islam, like I briefly mentioned it, but they have an all-male paramilitary wing known as the Fruit of Islam, or the FOI for short. Now the responsibility of the Fruit of Islam is that of a head of house, which protection, provision, and maintenance of the Nation of Islam. Now the FOI are militant in the sense that their operations are done as a unit, and the Fruit of Islam is respectful to all regardless of color, class, or creed. Any member is honest and hardworking and never considers crime as an alternative, nor encroaches on another man's rights to peace and property. Also, it's important that I make it clear that the Fruit of Islam is sometimes confused with the 5% Nation, aka the 5%ers, which was a splinter group that separated from the Nation of Islam back in the 1960s. But no, they're not the exact same group at all. And finally, I want to look at the flag of the Nation of Islam. When it comes to the flag of the Nation of Islam, it has the symbols of the sun and the moon and the star, and it represents the entire universe. Now, it's also a banner of universal peace and harmony. Because what do the Nation of Islam want? They want freedom, they want justice, they want equal opportunities for jobs. They also want to be allowed to create a separate nation of their own, which is good for agriculture as well as minerally rich. They want equal education. Also, they look to have separate schools for boys up until the age of 16 and girls up until the age of 18, as well as women's colleges and universities. They also strive to have all black children. They also believe that all black children should be taught by black teachers, among many other things. Really, equality and empowering the entire black race. Alright guys, so that's all I have for you in this episode about the Nation of Islam. I really hope you guys found this interesting. You learned something new. I definitely was very fascinated learning more and more about this. I've done research about the Nation of Islam and Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad over the years, but it was definitely really good to do another refresher here and share it with you guys. Alright guys, so that's it for me. Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments down below about anything that I mentioned in this episode. Definitely want to hear your thoughts. Join in on the conversation. And before I get out of here, I'm going to leave you with a video that I definitely think you should check out. It's going to be at the end screen, so look out for that. I'm going to get out of here. It's been awesome hanging out with you, and I'll see you next time in another episode.